Welcome to I Feel Fat Today, the show where we dispel diet myths, see what's new in diet culture, and investigate your relationship with food. I'm your host, Kelly Taylor. Last week, I did not have an episode, but I did post a vlog. So you can check that out on Instagram and YouTube. I have it posted on there. And that vlog is all about my first time hitting a Pure Barre class. I talk about why I decided to go and other feelings associated with going to a workout class. And I think it was a fun little thing to make. So you can go ahead and check that out. And of course, subscribe to us on YouTube at I Feel Fat Today over on YouTube, where we have full video episodes every single week, every single Friday for your viewing pleasure. Subscribe, like, comment, all the things. And then after you do that, head over to Apple Podcast and give us a 5-star review over there. Leaving a 5-star review helps push the show out into the algorithm, lets other people know what you think of the show and if we should watch it or listen to it. Just rep what you love. If you love this show, let the people know. And follow us on Instagram. You can follow the show page at I Feel Fat Today. And you can follow me, your host, at Hello, This is Kelly. Send us an email if you want to let me know your thoughts on the show, or if you want some advice. Send us an email at ifeelfattoday at gmail.com. And then finally, and most importantly, please tell your friends. If you're listening to this show for any reason and you are enjoying it, let your friends know about it. They might not even be someone that you think would be interested in talking about dieting or, the way it feels to exist in a human vessel. But they might. And so send it over to them. Tell your friends about it. It would mean the world to me. And that's all the housekeeping. Okay, so I have one more thing to talk about before I introduce this week's guest. And if you're not interested in this, please just skip ahead 2 minutes, maybe more. This is kind of long. I did write down my notes. So if you see me glancing down, it's just because I have some notes written out about something that I wanted to bring up on the podcast. Now, what I'm about to bring up, you may think I don't understand why. It has nothing to do with diets or bodies, but it does have to do with proper mental health. And it's also a special interest of mine. So basically what I am going to talk about is the fact that Bob Bryar, the former drummer of My Chemical Romance, passed away tragically. The news broke on Friday night, the day after Thanksgiving. And my initial reaction when I flipped open my phone after having been in a 3-hour-long movie, and that being the first thing I saw, was just, oh, God damn it. Because from what I had seen as of in the last year, and especially in the last few weeks, he seemed to be posting some really unhinged tweets and clearly was not mentally sound. So why am I bringing this up? Well, the band My Chemical Romance has been my favorite band ever, most favorite band ever. I discovered them when I was 12 years old, and they became my special interest. I was obsessed on every level. I tracked their every movement. This time of year during the holidays, my MySpace profile song would always be an MCR cover of some Christmas song. I was just obsessed. I've seen every interview. I've read every fan fiction. Every year on my birthday, I rewatch the tour documentary, Life on the Murder Scene. Just obsessed. And the first time I ever saw My Chemical Romance live, I had just turned 14 years old. And it was the record release show of the Black Parade, October 23rd, 2006. I will never forget the date, in Ford's, New Jersey at Vintage Vinyl. Shout out to my mom, because I did not have any friends, especially not friends with cars. So her being willing to drive me was, imperative for me to have this experience. But basically, they set up a stage in the parking lot and they performed the Black Parade front to back. And then they performed like another 30 minutes of songs from Bullets and Revenge. I screamed every word because, of course, I had already listened to the Black Parade ad nauseum. My soul had left my body. And then to top it all off, my mom was cool with us standing in line in the freezing cold for probably another 2 hours, maybe more, to come in and meet the band. And I got a picture and they signed my album insert. It was amazing. Anyways, I just want to bring that up to say, I feel like I'm qualified to speak on this just because of it takes 10,000 hours to get good at anything. And I certainly put in that amount of time into just learning everything about this band, learning everything about the members. Now, I say that to say My Chemical Romance had that effect on people. Their fan base has always been rabid, and I think it's comparable to Taylor Swift fans and the level of fandom that Swifties have when it comes to loving her. Now, what I want to say is that what I want to say about Bob Bryar's passing right now is that, number one, my heart breaks over the situation. It's so sad that he's gone, and it's so sad that what he may have been going through to get to the place of being so isolated that he passed and was not discovered for a while. So we're talking about extreme isolation, to not be discovered after being deceased for many days. The second thing that I want to say is the thing that stands out to me the most is the hate My Chemical Romance fans, mostly the ones that discovered the band after 2013, when Bob had already left the band, have had for him. And I'm saying this definitively. This does not mean I at all co-sign any of the things that Bob has tweeted in the past that were, racist or otherwise inappropriate. In truth, during that time I was in college, and I was going through sort of a rebrand and not completely immersed in My Chemical Romance drama at that time. Regardless, that time period following Bob being kicked out of the band became open season on Bob Bryar and hateful My Chemical Romance fans. Now, in following Bob's passing, Frank Iero, I've been a fan of this band for upwards of 20 years, and I will always struggle with his last name. But Frank posted a really beautiful tribute to Bob and went into a little bit about what their relationship was and what it ultimately ended up being. And in the tribute, he talks about a traumatizing event in Bob's life that involved the death of one of his animals. And that sent Bob down a spiral, ultimately resulting in his removal from My Chemical Romance and him being kicked out of the band. Now, all this is to say, when I first discovered My Chem in 2004, the byline of the band, if you will, was My Chemical Romance saved my life. So many fans, honestly, probably a majority of fans, had some kind of story of how discovering My Chem did something for them on a level that kept them from hurting themselves at the least, and maybe worse, if you know what I'm saying. And so My Chem kind of became this mental health band. And it was that same fan base that said My Chemical Romance saved my life that sent hate like real hate to Bob, who evidently was struggling with mental health issues. And I think that this should be a warning to society about how we treat people. I'm not saying that Bob was a saint at all, but do you really think that the members of a band that supposedly saved your life would tour and make an entire album, almost 2 albums, with a hateful bigot? This should be a lesson not to judge people. I think for tweets especially, I know that words hurt people, but they could say something objectively horrible. But is that who you know that person to be, even as a fan? Something I realized in therapy is that as a kid, anytime I made a mistake or I did something bad, I thought that meant I was bad. I forged my mom's signature on a series of tests that I had failed when I was in elementary school, and I got caught and I was in trouble, and I did a dumb, bad thing, but that didn't mean I was dumb and bad. Or, that time that I got into a horrible fight with a friend and I said things that were mean and horrible, and I didn't even believe the things I was saying, but it really tested our friendship, and thank God, she forgave me and we moved forward. And that's to say I did a horrible thing to her, but it didn't mean that I was a horrible person. And I think really when I look at something like this in the most simple of terms, like, can someone say or tweet something objectively bad, but you forgive them? Or are they bad for forever? That's just my 2 cents. Rest in peace, Bob Bryar. If you would like to take a dive a little bit deeper into the complicating being that Bob Bryar was, you should check out the TikToker Franny Stein. I will link her TikTok in the bio, in the description of this show. I really implore you to check out her page and content about the band's history if you are if you like nerding out on My Chemical Romance as much as I do. And if you are skipping ahead through what I just went on, now is when I am bringing on my guest. Stop skipping. You can stop skipping because I am bringing on my guest. She is a returning guest, looking a little bit different these days from when we first were introduced to her. Please welcome my guest to the show, Mae Planert.
He is. Are we rolling?
We are rolling. We're
Hi,
good.
everybody.
We're rolling. Welcome back. We got Mae Planert here. Returning guest.
Yes.
One of few returning guests. I think the only returning guest I've ever had, I think, is Joe.
Okay.
And that's because he lives here.
Yeah.
And sometimes he fills in for me because I'm like, I don't have anybody. And he's like, let's chat while being recorded.
Somebody.
You are somebody. Yeah.
Yeah, a little different than the last time I was on the show. I am massively pregnant.
Yeah.
I'm 8 months pregnant.
8 months pregnant. So Mae was the first guest we ever had on the show.
Oh my God, is that true?
Your episode number 1.
Wow.
Yeah. And if it were not for Mae, this podcast may not exist because you really were one of the cheerleaders.
Oh, this is the best podcast in the world.
cheerleader
You
to
guys
be
need to
like-
tell your friends about this podcast.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You hear the woman? Yeah. So I'm so glad you're coming back. But I thought it was kind of got the idea to have you on because you are in such a different place.
Oh yeah.
With your body, especially.
Yes.
You know, so
my body, my mind, my spirit,
everything's different.
all of it.
Wow. Big things happening. So is pregnancy what you expected?
You know, no, in good ways and in bad ways.
Okay.
Because I mean, because we're super close friends. We talk ad nauseum about this kind of thing, but it's like when I first got pregnant, I was like, here comes the nausea, here comes the bloating, here comes the whatever. And I have been extremely, extremely lucky in my pregnancy so far. Anyway, I still have 2 months to go. By the way, it's 10 months. Nobody talks about that.
Really?
It's not 9 months. It's 10 months that you're pregnant.
Why is like 9 what we talk about?
I think because it's from the point that you find out. It's 9 months.
I thought the 9 months was the entirety.
No.
Wow.
It's not like time served.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's
Like,
terrible.
It's horrible.
Honestly, you know how like when you go shopping, something will be $9.99 as opposed to $10?
Yeah.
Maybe that's pregnancy. It's like, it's
Yes.
9 months. It's
No,
not 10.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is. Because you could, like, after the 9-month mark, I could give birth to a healthy baby.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't be considered like a preemie,
Full
I don't
term.
think.
Yeah.
But, yeah, the full term is 40 weeks, which is 10 months.
10 months.
It's a whole last fucking year of my goddamn life.
Yeah, that is a year of your goddamn life.
Anyway, so physically I've been pretty good up until now. Now I'm like, good God.
Yeah.
But physically it's been pretty good. Mentally, I've been a disaster.
Oh, no. When did that start?
Immediately.
Immediately?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Literally immediately.
Yeah.
And I think it's because obviously I've never done this before. Well, maybe that's not obvious too. This is my first baby, but it's just like there's so many unknowns and there's just nothing you can do to stop it.
Yeah. And you are in the position where you have an older sister that went through this twice.
Yeah.
But you still don't know because it's
I
you.
still don't know. Exactly.
Yeah.
It's just totally different and it's just daunting as fuck and you have to make so many decisions that you never thought you'd have to make. Also, like, I'm married. I'm in a pretty good position to have a baby and I'm still like, this is
so scared.
This is scary because you're like, how's it going to change our relationship?
Mm-hmm.
How's it going to change my life? How's it going to change, like, my freedom is going to be a lot different for a long time. And you have to make so many fucking sacrifices. And my husband's not going to have to make any, really.
I know. I remember you were, you had told this one story. I think it may have been about your sister or a close friend where she ended up having a discussion with her husband about how, you know, he became a dad when the baby was born, but
Yeah.
she was a mom
When
the day she found out she was pregnant.
Yeah.
You know, and like, of course, you know, when couples are pregnant, like before the baby's born, it's you say to the dad, "Hey, dad," you know, but it's not the same thing.
No,
at
it's
all.
not. That's what they always say. And, you know, what's funny is I read this parenting book from France because they're such fucking hard asses over there. And I fucking love French culture. They just are no nonsense. And an excerpt from the book said it was basically like, treat your husband like he is mentally challenged. Like, essentially, that's what it said. It was like,
Yeah.
do not expect anything from him. Don't think he's going to have any instincts. Don't think that he's going to know what you want or know what you need, because if you have that expectation, you won't be disappointed, because these fucking men, not like no fault of their own. I mean, childbearing and this whole thing and all this is very much the woman's part.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, or trans men, whatever you want to say. Yeah.
Birthing person.
That's also the funniest thing too, is like I'll go into the gynecologist and they'll give me a exam and it'll be like Mae Planert, female.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
redundant.
no fucking shit, I'm female.
Redundant.
Yeah. Or like you fill out forms, it's like, what's your gender? I'm like, can you just let us have this one thing?
I know it's like such a hard thing too that women have done for centuries.
It's so hard. It's
the hardest.
And it's only going to get much worse.
Yeah.
I mean, horrible.
I think what you mentioned about that Parisian parenting book is right on. And I've never read a parenting book.
That'd be crazy if you did.
I know. But you know what's so funny? My brother is 6 years younger than me, and I vividly remember my mom watching TLC when during the day it was all baby stuff.
Really?
Yeah. So it would just be like, I forget what the name of the show was, but there would be women just like actively in labor, and like my mom would watch that.
Oh, wow.
Any chance she could. Yeah. So I have vivid memories of like watching baby stuff when I was like a kid. But anyways, I'm wondering if in like a American parenting book, if it would be like your husband's inept.
Yeah.
Your partner sucks.
No,
you know?
probably not. I would imagine American parenting books would be like, together as a couple, you need to talk about responsibilities. And like the French parenting book is like, Listen, they don't know shit. They won't know shit. They're gonna do something the wrong way, and you're gonna get pissed.
Yeah.
And like,
No, seriously.
You know.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, think about like when you first start dating a guy, how you have to like kind of train them, which sounds terrible. It's a terrible thing to say, but like it's true. You know, it's like you have to, for some reason, you have to like
break them in.
Yeah, break them in.
Yeah.
You gotta like because it's unknown to them that you would be like upset by walking into a dirty house after a long weekend away.
To be fair, yeah, right. It's like wild concept, but to be fair, they probably break us in certain ways too. Because, it's like two people just meshing together.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. You have to learn how to deal. It's weird.
Yeah.
And that baby's gonna break you in.
Oh yeah. I'm actually, so my husband, he travels every single weekend, and it's nice. I was telling him today on the phone, I was like, I'm actually fucking pumped to have this baby because he's taking 2 months off. So he says anyway, we'll see what happens.
We'll see. Yeah.
But he, we're also like open to like, we don't know how hard it's going to be because you hear different things and you don't know what your experience is going to be like. So he has 2 months off on his calendar, but he's like, if we kind of are in a groove and it feels fine, like, whatever, then he can go out on the weekends again. But I was telling him, I was like, I'm pumped for this baby to come because then I'll spend so much time with you.
Yeah, you'll
I was
finally
like, you're home.
Yeah.
I was like, we can finally like eat lunch.
Oh yeah. Oh, lunch. How lovely would that be?
Yeah, with that
Totally.
baby.
Okay, yeah. So you were talking about your mental, how you've kind of been a mess ever since the day you found out. And something I recall us talking about when you first came on the show was you have this little, we'll call it a quirk as to not, diagnose you.
Yeah.
But you do have this like OCD related thing of rituals of like you'll do a plank for an extended amount of time to make sure everything's right in the world. You know, we're not going to fall out of orbit. Mm-hmm. So have you noticed that getting better or worse like with this pregnancy?
Actually, so much better.
Go figure.
Because you know what? I just feel like everything in my life is out of control that I'm just like, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. Like I will say when it comes to food, and this is probably incredibly unhealthy for the child, but I
start them young.
Yeah. But I definitely I still feel guilt around food, which is shitty because I'm fucking pregnant. When else should I just eat intuitively?
If not now.
Yeah. Like today I realized it was like 2 p.m. and all I had eaten was a chobani. And I was like, that's not enough food for a 9-month pregnant or an 8-month pregnant woman. But then I was like, oh, maybe I'll go out and get a sandwich. I was like, can I afford the carbs? I was like, what am I doing?
Yeah, you have a life growing.
What am I fucking doing? Yeah.
Thing happening.
It should just be like, what am I craving? And there's probably a reason I'm craving it.
Yeah.
You know? So like, it's, I don't know. I feel like it's interesting how like even that is still there. Even though I'm pregnant.
Yeah, you would think that with pregnancy, you probably just assume, of course I'm going to know to eat whatever when I, intuitively, like you were saying.
Well, also, I always assumed, and I've had so much we moved. It was like a whole thing.
It's been very stressful.
It's been very stressful. And I always assumed, I was like, oh, when I get pregnant, I'm going to eat so healthy and it's going to be, everything's going to have a purpose and like omega-3s and all this stuff. And like, it has not been my experience.
Whatever you can get down.
It's it's convenience. Yeah. It's whatever I can get down. I have like a multivitamin and I'm like, hopefully this is covering all the bases because God bless. Otherwise, this kid's living on fucking cozy snacks and cheese strings. So
Nutri-Green Valley bars.
That's it.
Yeah, gosh, granola bars. I mean, the baby seems to be growing just fine.
Oh, he's doing his thing. Yeah, and like I obviously like I'm having a Diet Dr. Pepper right now. I'm not a psychopath about aspartame or anything like that, which I would have totally thought would have been my personality to be that way, and I'm not at all.
Yeah,
which I don't know what that means. Like maybe I'm just loosening up already. Like
I think
being more realistic.
Well, I mean, it's one of those things of like having an idea about something and then you're in the reality of it, and you're like, I don't have any brain capacity to worry about aspartame.
No,
at all.
Yeah.
There was something you were saying that sparked a memory that I've lost it. It'll come back to me. But yeah, man, you don't know until you're in it.
Totally.
But you've been still going, like, I feel like full, like no stopping you. I mean, you're getting up most nights.
Most
doing
nights, a lot of
stand-up.
nights. Yeah.
A lot of nights.
Yeah.
Multiple times within a night, getting
Yeah.
on stage. And so are you at the point where you've noticed audience reactions being a bit different towards you?
Yes, and in a good way. I'm kind of like a prop comic right now.
Yeah, totally.
You know?
That's such a funny way to look at it. That's
Yeah.
so true.
Because I'm like, what are they going to be mean to the pregnant lady?
Right.
So it's actually been quite lovely having that crutch on stage.
That's nice.
Yeah.
I love that.
But it is shitty because I feel this like enormous pressure to do as many spots as I can because I'm like, when's the next time I'll be able to? But then there's so many nights that I'll have a show and I'm like, I fucking don't want to go. I've been getting crazy sciatica pain, which is like a wild pain in your back. And it comes and goes depending on how the baby's sitting. And so like I'll like, commit to a show and then, said show will be coming up. And I'm like, I don't know how I'll feel when that happens.
Totally. And like you are somebody that will forge through whatever pain or whatever is happening to go to random show in Ridgewood.
100%
Like,
I've always been this way. I'm the
always.
kid that would go to school with the flu. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. I totally get that 100%.
Yeah. I also thought before I was pregnant, I thought that I would be doing a lot of exercising and stuff like that. And I've really fallen off the wagon there. And I think it's just because the place I moved into has stairs and I'm like, I can't, that is too much for me.
Yeah.
Like
I mean, you're exhausted, especially at this point in the pregnancy.
Yeah. I'm totally
I feel like
exhausted.
you moved from Manhattan to Brooklyn at the turning point of the pregnancy,
yes.
it feels like. And
at
so
6.5 months.
Yeah. So it kind of like made everything feel like it was happening at once. And all of a sudden you're like, I'm tired.
Yes.
I have stairs and I'm tired.
Like I have so much to do, but no energy to do it.
Yeah.
And it's a really it's kind of a clusterfuck. And you feel so, I feel so pulled in like a million directions. And I just am like, I'm very hard on myself in the sense that our house is not done. It's nowhere near done. It feels shitty in there because there's so much dust and whatever. And the way that I'm like internalizing that is the house isn't ready. We're not ready for the baby.
Right.
It's like more than the house. It's like we are failing already. He's not even here yet and we're already failing.
But it's I could tototally see why you would feel that just because it's like, of course you're going to turn in on yourself. But I mean, we're not even going to go into the timeline that fucked up moving into this new apartment and all of that. So there were a lot of outside factors that contributed to this feeling of not being ready. But like, talk about a deadline.
I know. Talk about a deadline.
It's like it's the most. If there ever was a deadline, it's this one, and it's. I mean, not to keep harping, but it's like it could move up. Imagine having it like the LSATs, and it's like it's gonna be this date, but it might be soon.
Literally, and you don't know.
You don't know,
and you fucking don't know. Oh my god.
Have you talked to other comics that are now moms that talked about like what you were talking about, like, like you were saying how when the baby comes you don't know when you're going to get up, like have they given you any sort of comfort of like?
Well, it's tough because I've talked to much more successful comedians. Like Rosebud Baker's been very helpful, Rachel Feinstein's been very helpful.
Nice.
Sarah Tolomosh's been very helpful. But they're all at much different places in their careers. They've been doing stand-up a much longer time than me. They're way more successful. They have credits and shit. Yeah. So, like, it makes sense for them to, like, get back on the horse and go and do a weekend away. But my weekends look very different in terms of where I'm doing shows, like the hotels in which I'm doing these shows.
Right.
And the money, obviously, is, like, non-existent. So I think I'm kind of in like my own boat in terms of that. I don't know anybody in my boat that's been in that. Like I remember Rachel Feinstein told me, she was like, Finny. He's like,
it's okay. He's doing his happy dance.
He's doing his happy dance. But Rachel Feinstein was like, oh my God, after the baby, your career is going to skyrocket. Mine did. I was like, okay, but you're like really well known and very, very, very good.
No. Don't do that.
I was like, Rachel, you like you're on
Yeah,
Netflix.
literally, your career's gonna skyrocket. Like Netflix is just gonna come calling.
Right. I was
You
like,
know?
I'm doing a brewery in rural Pennsylvania. Okay. I was like, I love your positivity, but I don't know. Maybe mine will skyrocket in comparison to what it is now.
Right, right. I mean, hey,
Yeah.
isn't
It
that
can't get any
success?
worse. So I literally can't get any lower.
Oh
So-
my god. Yeah, like people, like all of a sudden people just like unfollow you on Instagram. They're like, no, we're good.
Yeah. Actually, what's your take on because I know people get wicked annoyed when people put like the emojis over kids' faces
So, okay.
on Instagram
Yeah,
and stuff.
yeah. So like someone has a baby and then it's like, we're covering the kid's face. I understand why people do it.
Yeah.
I think it's getting a little, I don't have children. I think it's getting a little catastrophized.
I agree.
I do. I
Yeah.
understand. I think that if you're a momfluencer, maybe don't have your kids online. I still
Maybe
think
don't be a momfluencer. How
maybe
about
don't
that?
be a momfluencer, but there
Yeah.
are some that I do enjoy. But
yeah,
like,
yeah.
I don't know. There's some horror stories.
Yes,
But
there are.
I think that people that didn't put emojis and like keep kids out of the camera to start, if they didn't initially do that, they only did it because of like pressure from like
Yeah.
the audience
Yeah,
being
yeah.
like, you're a horrible mother
Yes,
for doing that.
yes.
You're sex trafficking your child. Like,
right.
I think there was like a super popular momfluencer that had like these twins that she like randomly got pregnant by. Like dad wasn't around. I can't remember her name, but
Oh my god.
her I know
Oh god.
terrifying situation.
Yeah.
But she kind of, life gives you lemons, you become a TikTok star.
I guess so.
Yeah, and she was a fun follow. And then all of a sudden she came online and she was like, I'm not going to be showing the kids. And she didn't necessarily say why, but like every time I was in her comments,
It was pressure. From the
it was
comments.
pressure. It was
Yeah.
pressure. And so I totally respect people's choices to not show their kids' face or whatever. But let's be real, if the reason why they're doing that is because of pedophiles being on the internet, which of course they are, but if the reason why that's happening, covering the kid's face isn't going to stop someone from abusing your child via image.
They're just like in like a two-piece bikini.
Yeah, their
with
little
an
pot
affa-
bellies out. And you know what those pedophiles feel about those pot bellies.
Oh, they love the
They
pot
love
bellies.
the pot bellies.
Oh yeah. I had a huge pot belly.
Oh yeah,
As
I
a
mean
kid.
it's
Yeah,
as a child,
it's like
you
the
must.
body shape of a little
Yeah.
girl. But yeah, I don't know.
What's your feeling?
I don't know. So my husband's like in the limelight a little bit, and my
Bill Cosby.
husband's Mark Normand. If anybody doesn't know that, but so I'm kind of conflicted because I don't want people knowing who my kid is.
Yeah.
But I don't know. He's not that fucking big.
I know, for sure.
But also, I don't know. Mark is like, he's like, it's weird because if he's really little, like if it's just like a really cute baby photo or something, I don't mind that. And I was
Yeah.
like, I feel similarly, but then it's like, where do we cut it off? It's like all of a
Right.
sudden it's like, wait a minute, you're too hot now.
Yeah.
He's like 2 years old. I'm like, okay, well now he's sexy. So like we got to stop posting him because I agree. Like if you post a baby, it's a fucking baby. You know what I
Right.
mean?
For sure.
So I don't know how I feel about it. I guess
Guess you'll figure it out.
I guess I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
It reminds me of like those. Remember those ads in the '90s that would be like, "Don't have." There was basically like a pedophile, and he would be like, "Oh, Bob," because like a kid would be like, "My name is Bob,"
Oh yeah.
and so it's like, "Don't have your kid's name on your shirt,
Right.
or on their shirt or whatever." So it would be weird. I don't know. If like someone like recognized my kid on the street from my Instagram, from Mark's Instagram,
Right.
or whatever,
Yeah.
he doesn't need to be online in that way.
Totally.
Also, he is. I feel very, very strongly about him not having. It's a boy. Him not having social media until he's like 16 or something.
I know, but how do you
Enforce that?
enforce
Can't.
that? Because I was a gremlin on MySpace at like 12.
Of course. I know.
But the internet was a different place. Like, I think about all the time how like I would be up until 2, 3 a.m. just like I am now on my phone. But when I was in high school, I'd be up to 2, 3 a.m. on the computer. Like, I literally would sit at my desk,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, and then it would be like, fuck, I gotta go to bed, you know, and then I never struggled going to sleep necessarily because I would just like power down the, you know, computer and then the desktop and then go lay in bed and
Yeah.
you know, wake up for school. Whereas now it's like we have our phones in our faces in bed all the time.
Always.
You know,
always.
like I was in a therapy session today and I got a text and I like completely broke my train of thought with my therapist. And like there are blockers and stuff, do not disturb and all that. But like it's just different. It's just the internet's a different place and
it's a different place.
access is completely different. You
I
know, my parents didn't know what I was doing up there.
You could have been flirting with all the pedophiles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Catfishing men on AIM. It was so fun.
Yeah, amazing.
Come on.
I just worry about, I mean, so many things like Reddit threads.
I know.
And having them be like a conspiracy theorist.
Yeah.
And,
Oh, it's so scary.
yeah,
How do you not make your child an incel? It's so it's
literally
so terrifying.
Well, did you see? This is like so sad, but did you see that there was a kid who recently unalived himself? I think is the term that we're supposed to say.
Yeah, the internet.
Because he was flirting with this like AI chatbot, and the chatbot was like encouraging that.
Oh, gosh, a girl went to jail over that.
Yeah,
remember that?
Yeah, she was from Massachusetts. They were both from Massachusetts.
Yeah. It was a Massachusetts story.
That was crazy.
That's horrible.
Yeah, no, it's not great. It's really, really, really bad.
Yeah, and it's like you don't want to stunt them socially.
Yeah,
like, you know, like
right.
Whatever the fucking social media will be of the time.
Yeah,
when everyone else has it, like you don't want to necessarily not let your kid have that, and you don't want them operating in secret, but you also need to have some kind of parameters.
There's got to be something. I know, because it's hard, and you also don't want to limit it so much where it's like, no, you never do this, and then once they get their hands on an iPad, it's like forget it. Yeah.
Oh, forget it.
So there has to be like anything else, moderation. But I mean, I'm addicted to my phone. I am actively addicted to my phone. I don't walk into a room without my phone. I don't go to bed without my phone. I don't wake up without my phone. I don't shower without my phone. I have a podcast going while I'm in the fucking shower. Like
no noise, no silence ever.
No silence ever. I don't want a single thought. Not one thought ever, not once.
Yeah. No, thank you. I'm good on those.
I'm all good on that.
Because the thoughts are still happening in the background. Wow.
I know.
It's like I'm trying to listen to a podcast.
Don't you hate that when you tune back in and you have no idea what's going on in the podcast and you're like, oh, I've been stewing.
Oh, yeah.
In this fucking hideous brain for a long time.
I gotta rewind.
I actually feel like this was a theory I had because whenever you talk to a parent, they're always like, oh, you have no idea what you're in for. It's really hard. It's really challenging. But it's phenomenal.
Yes.
And it's the greatest thing that's ever happened to me and blah, blah, blah. And I imagine, I mean, maybe it's going to be a similar thing to how I felt about my pregnancy and then it's completely different. But I imagine that when I have the baby, I'm not going to have time for my phone in the way that I do now. And I'm like, maybe I'll just automatically be happier because I'm not constantly on social media.
Yeah, you're not scrolling.
No.
Yeah, that probably. I feel like...
Though I probably will be scrolling.
Becca Stevenson is a former guest of the show and new mom.
Yes.
And she has some fun posts on TikTok about like being a new mom and like how you know, like she's like, when I was going to be home with a newborn, I thought that I was going to read a ton and all this shit. And she's like, no, I get 15-minute increments to get anything done.
Yeah,
so it's like, if you are scrolling, it's in a 15-minute increment.
God forbid.
God forbid you have some mental respite.
That reminds me, actually, I have to text her back. She was texting me about parenthood.
Yeah, she's probably a good resource.
Yeah, she
just had a little boy. So
yeah. We can get our our little fucking potatoes together, and they can sit there and do nothing and then poop their pants.
I love that.
Yeah.
How fun. I am selfishly excited to hang out with the baby.
Yeah, it's gonna be cool.
It'll be cool.
It'll be cool. This is like a really weird thing to want for my baby that hasn't even been born yet, but I hope he's tan.
Yeah.
Mark's pretty olive skinned.
Yeah.
So hopefully he gets Mark's complexion, because I'm like fucking, I am Casper the Ghost right now. I think I'm like paler during pregnancy. I can't.
Really?
Yeah. I feel like last winter I don't remember being this pale. I'm like, whoa, I am fucking pale right now.
I was gonna say, didn't you just get back from your honeymoon? But that was the winter before.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Like, well, Africa will do that.
No, I am like pasty as fuck right now. Like,
I mean, there's so many beauty treatments that you cannot do. Like maybe you just like. I mean, no, I guess you're not intentionally staying out of the sun. You're just sun hasn't been out. It is frigid.
It is so cold.
I know. About time. Let's
yeah,
be
it is
real.
about time. It's like 30 degrees or something.
Yeah.
Like that. My fucking heat wasn't working in my house last night.
Oh,
I was so
it's
mad.
Always something.
There's
with this
always
place.
something. There's
You
always
know?
fucking something. It just doesn't feel like I'm like trying to make a house a home, and it doesn't feel right yet. And so it's just stressing me out.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Like I said, outside factors.
Yeah.
Okay. Have you been feeling any familial diet pressures, like when you're with like your mom or your aunts or anything like that? Are they like, don't have asparagus, it's bad for the baby?
No, I was with Mark's family in New Orleans for Thanksgiving, and they were asking me like, do you have any cravings? And I was like, yeah, I've been eating a lot of pudding and string cheese. And I think they were kind of like, I think they were horrified.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
It's a perfect pregnant woman's meal.
And then I, when they came to visit not too long ago, I had like 1,000 Diet Dr. Peppers in the fridge.
That's so mad.
I had so fucking, I had literally like 30. And so I think they think I'm like poisoning this kid. Literally. Because to put it into perspective, their other son has 2 daughters, and they're all vegans and are like eating only local organic. And then I'm just sitting here. And then for Thanksgiving, I requested, she was like, do you want to bring anything? And I was like, well, we're staying in a hotel, but maybe I'll cook like Campbell's green beans, the green bean casserole. And I got there and she was like, I just couldn't do it. So I made different types of green beans.
Oh my God.
And I was like, I thought I was very clear that I wanted these white trash green beans.
Yeah.
I thought I was explicitly clear about that.
Oh my God.
So not so much,
funny.
I mean, it would be unfair to say that I feel pressure from them, but I do think that they were a little bit like, is this kid going to be fucking retarded or something?
Yeah, like, how is this kid going to come out?
Yeah, with like an arm out of his head.
Yeah. He just comes out like a dog dipped in formaldehyde.
And it's so funny because in my regular life, I feel like I'm pretty well-rounded. Like I'll have fish, I'll have grains, I'll have salad most of the like. And I don't know. I just can't get it together. I just can't.
I think you, I mean, this is an outside perspective, but maybe you just don't have the mental capacity to be so thoughtful about food.
Yeah, I'm
these
like,
days.
whatever, dude.
Yeah.
And I've been, oh my God, I've been really loving just like cheese and dairy of any type. I've been really, really wanting dairy. And like normally I don't really fuck with that.
Yeah, normally you're pretty good at avoiding it. Like almost intentionally. Like, oh, I'd rather not deal with you know, the fallout from having dairy, but now it's just like, fuck it.
Well, you know what's crazy is that I haven't had any diarrhea.
That is insane.
It's insane because I typically have an unbelievable amount of diarrhea. Yeah. Like mostly every time I shit is diarrhea.
Yeah.
So maybe I shouldn't be eating fish and grains and
salads. Right? Stick with
maybe
the pudding and string cheese.
Yeah, this whole fucking time I should have been living on string cheese and pudding.
Yeah. Don't work out. You don't need to work out.
The idea of a salad right now, I fucking hate it.
Really?
Hate it. Like I could do like a loaded salad, but the lettuce just gets in the way.
Right.
Like I'd so much rather just have like carrots and hummus and then a bunch of fruit or something than have like a green leaf salad. It's just not my thing.
Yeah. Not right now, anyways. I know you said that you haven't been able to work out, but you have gotten some workouts in.
I
Have you
have.
gotten any side eyes or any like judgments coming
Yes,
from people?
I have actually.
Let's hear it.
You know what's fucking bullshit is that there's this Pilates studio right down the street from me, and I just moved to a new neighborhood in Brooklyn that doesn't like has like no fucking gyms in it. It's like the weirdest
You would
neighborhood in
think
that way. Yeah,
That wouldn't be the case.
I know.
Yeah.
It has two like big gym, like if you want to go to a gym.
Yeah.
But they don't have a like I'm on ClassPass and they don't use. There's not a lot of
You're
studios.
a class girly.
Anyway, so these fucking studios will have like prenatal classes, and I can never sign up in time. So then I go to the regular classes, and it's like a fucking Pilates class. It's really not that hard. It's just,
Right.
it's whatever. And they yell at me. They're like, we have these, they like get so angry that I'm there. And I'm like, okay, but if you're going to offer 2 fucking classes for pregnant ladies, and we live in a part of Brooklyn where every single person I walk by is pregnant,
Literally.
like, what the
yeah, you need more classes.
bullshit?
And it's like, instead of just being like, we have these classes, just, sorry, I made your job harder by making you
Explain
give
something
me
differently.
the prenatal version of this, you know?
I know. I've also done berries very pregnant, and that's
Oh my
been
God.
that's been okay though, because
Really?
because obviously I'm not running. I just kind of stroll leisurely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it hasn't been bad.
Yeah,
But then my legs were wicked sore and I couldn't walk up my fucking stairs.
No.
God. I have read that the act of childbirth is the equivalent of running a marathon.
Really?
That's what I've read.
Wow. I mean, it is many hours if it's a long one.
It's going to be horrible.
Yeah. I mean, you went into pregnancy having a healthy body, so
Yeah.
that's good.
Yeah. We'll see. I don't know.
No one's gonna be like in the hallway like, yeah, May. You
Yeah.
got this, May. Keep going.
It's going to be so fucking bad.
Is Mark feeling any kind of way about being in the delivery room?
Well, it's been a kind of a reoccurring joke because he doesn't understand that a due date is just an estimate. So,
Of course.
and he's working all the way up until the due date, which is fine because the first baby usually comes late, if
Yeah.
anything. I think it'll be okay. But the joke is right now that he's not going to be in the delivery room and he's going to show up and I'm going to have, which honestly, like I was talking to my boss about it. I was like, I really feel like Mark's going to miss the birth, and which is like kind of fucking hilarious. But my boss was like, honestly, like I had my husband in the room for both births and they're useless and you're mad at them.
Yeah.
So she was like, whatever, you don't fucking need him there.
My mom and dad agreed. My dad will be in the hallway. Like,
Yeah,
he's like,
yeah.
I'll be right outside the door.
Wait, really?
Yeah, he's just too squeamish.
No way.
Yeah.
God,
then
that's
and my mom's like,
crazy.
I'd rather not deal with you fainting. Like,
I'm very, very strict on I don't want Mark to see my vagina doing that
I
thing.
think most women are like, don't look at the child coming out.
Don't look at it. It's like
Yeah.
embarrassing for me.
Yeah. I mean, childbirth in general, it's a whole to do.
Yeah.
It's a whole thing, you know, the
I mean, it's disgusting.
yeah.
Like it fucking is. It's absolutely disgusting.
Yeah, it's vile.
So I just can't get behind it. Like,
Yeah. I think that's fine.
yeah.
I think that's totally fine.
You know what's funny is that I don't want him looking at my vagina if it comes out that way. But if I have a C-section, I'll be like, tell me what my insides look like.
Oh, that freaks me out like
Yeah.
nothing else.
I've heard that from men that have seen their wives' insides that it's like all gray.
Oh, man.
Yeah. It'd be all like red with blood, but also the organs are gray.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
It would probably stink too.
probably. I mean,
Right?
I feel like childbirth in general probably is
Oh yeah.
not pleasant smelling.
It is disgusting, I'm sure.
Ugh. Oh man. The beauty of life.
Apparently, I've been seeing this all over my TikTok. Apparently, Mark, if I'm gonna try for a vaginal birth, which I really don't want to fucking do it. Can I tell you that?
I feel like you're of all my friends that are pregnant, you are the one that is like, so has the most opinions about a vaginal birth.
I fucking hate the idea. Like, it's just not right to me. Like, it's just like, and I've had surgeries before. Like, I had my thyroid taken out. You know, I've had like major surgeries before. Not that this is much less of a big deal than a C-section, from what I'm told. But it doesn't freak me out. Like, people are like,
Yeah.
oh, but doesn't like a invasive surgery like that freak you out? I'm like, literally not at all.
Yeah,
I trust that I would
trust
be
science, and
I would be completely numb. It would actually be kind of peaceful. I could like talk to Mark.
yeah,
It's kind of nice.
right.
But the vaginal thing, like, first of all, I'm just really afraid of my fucking vagina changing. Somebody, who was it? I was like asking somebody who had children. I was like, do things go back to normal? And they were like, well, your ligaments, like my feet never went back to normal. And I was like, bitch, I'm not talking about your feet.
I don't care that you went up a half a size.
Right. What is the elasticity of your vagina? Like, are you kidding me? I don't give a shit that you went from an 8.5 to a 9. That is obviously not what I'm discussing.
Right.
So, I don't know. It just like really fucking freaks me out that my vagina could be different in any way. If it could look even slightly different, if it could like feel different, it just fucking freaks me out. And then Mark was like, yeah, but like sometimes they say that, you know, if you tear, they do like another stitch or whatever, so you're wicked tight. And I was like, okay, but that's good for you. That's not good for me.
Yeah.
That's just I would, you know.
You don't want your anatomy to be different.
No.
But hasn't your, like, it's, our vaginas are going to change in the way that they look as we get older. So it's not always going to look like the vagina that you know. But I mean,
is that right? I've gotten to know this one.
Yeah. Well, she's becoming a mom, so
no. And then people will be like, "Yeah, but if you have a C-section, you still have to like wear the pads, and you still have to get and like you still like expel a bunch of stuff out of your vagina." I go, "I don't give a fuck."
Yeah, pads like, are not the issue.
Yeah. Oh, so I have like a really heavy period. I don't give a shit. You think I fucking care about that? You're out of your mind.
Like, I know I'm birthing a child.
I'm like, how can I make this more clear to you people? Like, I am very interested in the sexual satisfaction I will have after this child and the appearance and general feel of my vagina to my partner.
That's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
I don't care if my stomach never goes back to normal.
Right.
Like, I just need my vagina to go back to normal.
So have you like done a deep dive on the internet? Like, what do people say?
Well, like anything else, it's like it depends on the person.
Right.
And I'm like, oh God. So I don't know. There has to be some sort of surgery or like some sort of something I could get if everything was out of whack. But
all the moms on The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives get their vaginas done.
Exactly. Because there's all these fucking assholes gaslighting me like, oh, it goes right back. It looks exactly the same. It feels exactly the same. And then I'm like, well, what about these bitches?
Yeah.
That are getting their fucking vaginas done, whatever that even means.
I don't want to play into your fear at all. But I feel like in society, we just don't talk about how people get married and have kids. And then it's like, you know, the kids could be in their 20s. And there are many, many, many married people in long-term relationships with kids that like, have you guys had sex in the past 10 years? So it's like, I don't really want to know that woman's opinion on if the vagina goes back to normal.
Yes.
And I'm not saying like she could, you know, they could be out fucking other people. Like, these people don't have sex.
Right.
You know,
right.
like that's what I'm talking about. Like the sexless people that are okay with, you know, devolving into, you know, being over the hill before menopause, you know?
Right.
And like, no shade to those people. Like, live your life, be happy. I could never be that.
I'm not that person.
I'm not that person. I'm saying this is a 32-year-old. People get old, hormones change, things change.
Yeah.
I totally get it. I don't live that life. But like, yeah, it's hard to ask a woman who maybe isn't sexually active.
Right.
If, you know, her vagina goes back to normal.
Well, that and like, I mean, this is another thing that's been fucking me up is, it's really weird to be in this body that is just objectively not sexy. Like,
yeah.
Like literally, it's like biologically, it makes no sense for a man to be attracted to me right now.
But
I literally have a child, and it's just like so the act of having sex right now is so funny because I'm just like, I don't know. It's just weird to be having sex and be like, I am ugly. Like,
right. Like you
everything
feel
looks
alien.
crazy.
You feel alien.
There's a third person involved.
Yeah, that's weird.
My boobs look different.
Mm-hmm.
My vagina is like already kind of different because everything's swelling. Like my ankles are huge and like including my fucking vagina lips.
Yeah.
Like it's a kind of like just a weird, I just look bad. And so it's like funny. I don't know. And like I feel like that has proven how important my sex life is to me, to like feel confident, feel good in my everyday life.
Yeah.
And so to risk my vagina needing like 6 months to recover or whatever really fucking stresses me out. And I think like, I don't know. 'Cause I mean, you know, obviously people deal with, hopefully I won't have postpartum. Obviously you don't really know until you're in it, but I can't imagine that someone's vagina being fucked up is helping the situation of depression.
No,
like,
for sure. Yeah,
you know?
absolutely. I mean, talk about your self-esteem taking a hit. I mean, you already have so many, but also your perception of your vagina could be different when you do have a baby and like the hormones are surging and everything's confusing. Like it could look and be normal once it's healed, but like your hormones are telling you like you have body dysmorphia about your vagina.
Yeah.
Vaginal
my God.
dysmorphia.
Yes.
You know?
Totally. My sister did say, and hopefully nobody knows my sister.
Your really good friend said.
Yeah. But yeah, some girl I know said, she did say, she was like, after her first, I think it was like the way that she pushed, it just like her vagina was like fucked up. And then once it got cleared to have sex, they had sex and it was like unbelievably painful. She was like, it was the fucking worst thing ever. And then people were telling her like, oh, it's normal, it'll loosen up, like don't worry, like you'll relax or whatever. And she had to go to fucking physical therapist.
Wow.
She had to go to a physical therapist for her vagina where they like trained her muscles to like lengthen again or something.
Lengthen, contract, all that.
And she was like, yeah, it fucking sucks. Like it's just, you gotta like work on it. And I'm like, I'm gonna have so much on my plate, I don't need to like be working out my vagina as well.
Okay, you're gonna have so much on your plate. Having your midriff spliced open probably won't be a cakewalk.
It'll be fine. I literally think it will be fine. Is that delusional?
I think that it is delusional. I mean, I don't know which way to go.
Yeah.
I know that this is like something that you've been, really ruminating on, but
Yeah.
I feel like the body, it's the most natural process to have a baby come out of the birth canal. And like, that's what the body knows how to do. And modern medicine has led us to C-sections, which thank God for those, hey, you might not even have a decision in this.
Thank God. Hopefully.
You might not even have a decision in it. Whatever happens is meant to happen. But, I think that also depends on the person, on if you have a cakewalk with the
It does.
C-section and if you don't. But your kids the kid will be none the wiser.
I think it'll be fine.
Yeah. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
You got to manifest. I am having a C-section.
Yeah.
I loved my C-section. It was the best C-section ever. I literally make it so.
I mean, truthfully, like in today's day and age, I feel like most people have pretty positive C-sections.
Oh, yeah.
Like back when our parents were having C-sections, they were crazy.
It was beyond medieval.
And you would see like, women in bathing suits and you'd see the crazy scar and all this shit. Like now there's like a tiny little scar. It's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I hope my kid just like severely breached and there's nothing that they can do.
Yeah. Let's hope.
They're just like, listen, he's gonna die unless we C-section you today. I'll be like, this is the best case scenario.
Yeah, this really worked out in my favor.
This really worked out great.
Oh my gosh. Many decisions to be made. Okay, so I have a little something that I found on the internet, and I want to ask you your symptoms
Okay.
And we'll see. These are all old wives' tales of like
Oh, yeah.
what correlates to having a boy versus having a girl.
Okay, yeah. tell
Okay.
me.
All right. We kind of touched on that. Wait, I got to open this up. All right. We kind of touched on this one. How has your morning sickness been?
Non-existent.
Non-existent.
Yeah.
That indicates you're having a boy.
Yes.
Have your cravings been more salty or sweet?
Sweet.
Ooh, that indicates a girl.
Oh, interesting.
Heartburn, consistent and intense, or mild or non-existent?
Intense but not consistent.
Okay, well, and mild or non-existent leans towards boy.
Okay.
Bump position and size, high and wide or low and narrow?
Low and narrow.
You're pretty low,
Low.
boy.
Okay.
Breast size, have they gotten large and heavy?
I feel like they've always. I mean, I have very big boobs
you
in my
have big
regular
boobs.
life,
That's a
and
tough
so
one.
I think they've stayed the same. Really,
Okay, well,
the nipples are huge.
there's nothing
and
on here about
dark.
nipples.
So dark.
Really?
My nipples look like a black person's nipples.
Really?
But they're on me. Yeah, they're like
Wow.
purple. They're not even purple. They're brown.
You're gonna have to
They're,
change your lip
Dark
shade.
brown. Yeah.
Relative to body shape is girl, large and heavy is boy. Weight gain throughout your body or just in the belly? I feel like yours
Just
is
the belly.
Just the belly. That's a boy.
Yeah, which has been fantastic.
Yeah,
I was
because
not expecting
You have
that.
been feeling like Kim K. Poor
Yeah,
thing.
poor
Oh
thing.
my
Yeah.
God, she really. Some people just look kind of crazy when
Yeah.
they get pregnant.
Yeah, my sister or some woman I know,
Some bitch.
some bitch, I don't know. She looked like a totally different person with her
Yeah.
first, and then with the second, both boys. She didn't really look that crazy. So it's like it's pregnancy dependent too. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite things to come across on TikTok of like a woman being like, I can't wait to feel like a magical being when I'm pregnant. And then it's like, boom, a photo of them and their nose is like, if they take
Yes!
2 fingers, their nose is like way wider. And like, of course, all the comments are like, it's called something, something nose. It's like
Yeah,
called a
yeah.
pregnancy
I think
thing.
it goes away.
It does.
Yeah,
it does
yeah.
go away. But it's just so funny how like you have this idea of like, I'm going to be ethereal and
Oh,
one with the earth
totally.
and grounded and so feminine. And you're just like,
no. No, you look. In my experience, you look pale. Your nipples are black. I got a mole removed because it had grown so much, and it came back already because it's like growing again.
That is insane.
I know.
I'm so used to seeing your face that like I never noticed.
Yeah, you
but,
see,
like,
it's back.
That's crazy.
I know.
Wow.
So anyway, I talked to the dermatologist, and they were like, they're gonna do something else, but after the baby
Yeah.
comes. You know, what's really funny is that I'm gonna get that done, and then I'm probably gonna get like Botox and maybe some like chin lipo and all
You're
this
gonna
shit.
look crazy.
And then the baby's just gonna be in the bassinet, and I'm just gonna be over it, like with all my bandages all over my face. And he's like, "Who are these fucking aliens
Seriously.
that are taking care of me?"
That's another thing I saw on TikTok where there was something emotionally, developmentally can stunt a baby, as if like a mom is like, you've seen that?
Yes, I have.
Where
So
like a mom that doesn't smile or anything.
yeah, if you're not like emoting to the child because you've had too much Botox or whatever it is,
or you just like are undiagnosed postpartum.
right, it'll really fuck them up because they want that reaction.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
It's so nuts how like we're in our 30s and like when we were kids, I just feel like that this wasn't a thing.
No.
Like emoting to your child was not something that was like
No, you just fucking lived your
considered.
life.
Yeah.
You just lived your life authentically and
Yeah.
didn't overthink and over intellectualize the fuck out of shit. Like,
Right.
I had a
Take
friend
your
who
baby to the beach.
I had a dear friend who's being so nice, and she gave me this like book about feelings, and it was like, oh, to teach the baby about what the word like cozy means, and I was like, he's gonna like, you know what? He's gonna figure it out. Okay, he doesn't need to know these like.
As long as he's in a loving house, which he will be.
Yeah, it's gonna be all right.
Yeah.
I don't need to over intellectualize every fucking thing that he does. I don't need to make him every organic popsicle. He can have a fucking, go-go squeeze or whatever.
For sure.
Every once in a while.
Every
It's
once
gonna
in
be
a
all
while.
right.
A little red dye 40 puts hair on the chest.
Yeah.
Okay, hair, nails, and skin is your hair and nails like dry and brittle, or shiny, strong, and
My
no
nails
acne.
are always shitty. These are fake nails. I don't fuck around with my
Yeah.
real nails. My real nails suck. And my hair's been the same.
So no change.
Yeah.
Well, that probably points towards boy. No acne is boy. Acne is girl. Okay.
Damn, girls really fucking kick your ass.
Yeah,
huh?
that's something that I've heard. Like the most wives' tale of it all is like the girls suck your beauty.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. I didn't know that the line on the belly that we were discussing before we were recording was called a linea nigra line. Linea nigra line. So if it starts, does it start below the belly button or above the belly button?
Below.
That would be a girl.
Oh, interesting.
And then what's your preferred sleeping position? Do you sleep on your right side or your left side?
Oh, I don't really have one. I sleep on both, and my fucking hips are killing me all time. It's
Yeah,
horrible.
just horrible sleep. Well,
Terrible
left side's well, you also have the sciatica.
Yeah, yeah.
The left side's a boy. So most things pointed towards boy. So
And sleep has been horrible.
really
Horrible.
probably leads to the mental dysfunction as well.
Yeah, I'm just like,
If I don't sleep, I'm a fucking mess.
that's probably the sciatica pain and the sleeping or lack thereof has been my biggest symptoms, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is crazy because when you first were like, am I pregnant? You were sleeping all the time.
Yeah, yeah.
So you
Now I'm never sleeping.
now they're you owe a debt.
Well, my hips are just, I feel like my hips are already separating, and I'm like, whoa, guys, we got to go back because we're getting a C-section. But it's but like even just sitting here, like the sides of my hips hurt really bad. I feel like they're like loose. My like ligaments are like, let's go.
Yeah, it's
and I'm
time
like,
to have a baby.
no.
Oh my gosh.
Please, I want to have a medical intervention. Talk about not being ethereal. I'm like, I can't.
Seriously.
I'm 0% kidding when I tell you I don't have what it takes. I do not have what it fucking takes to give a vaginal birth.
I have never related to this kind of person, but the mom that is like, we'll do this at home.
No.
What is wrong with you? I'm no
Oh
shade,
my
but like, come on, that's terrifying.
When I was just in Louisiana, I met up with my wedding planner. Actually, we became friends, and she had 2 at home, 3 kids in total. The first one was at the hospital, and then she felt confident enough to have the second 2 at home.
Oh, that's so scary.
No medication.
Oh my.
No
gosh.
epidural or anything. I was like, you're fucking nuts. And she was like, yeah. She's like, it just like worked out better for me. I was like, I don't know.
Some people are built different because this is the same person that was in a really bad car accident
Yes.
weeks before your wedding.
She
She
was.
was there, buddy. Like she was like, it was like, oh shit, the wedding planner might not be able to be at the event. That kind of sucks. And she was there. You wouldn't think anything happened.
No. And by the time my wedding happened, she was out of it, but she had like a neck brace. It was like she was airlifted to the hospital.
Yeah,
it was like a
this
very,
woman
very,
is
very serious
completely
thing.
Built different.
She's insane. She's crazy.
Seriously.
Like, what the fuck? I was like,
Shout out to her though. She's so cool.
She is cool. But I was like, you and I have different philosophies on getting a child out of your body. Mine is I would prefer to barf it out.
Yeah, yeah.
I really would.
Yeah, why
I'm
is
already
that
bad
an
at
option?
blowjobs anyway. Might as well fuck up.
Who cares about this hole?
Who cares about this hole?
Man.
Anyway, it's gonna happen.
Anyways, and then we'll have to have you back on once you've had the child.
Yeah. Oh
And
my
you can
God.
bring him on this show because we don't get any listeners. So it's not many people will see the baby.
Yeah, that's true. He could be sleeping in his little DockATot, and I'll be like, that came out of hopefully my stomach and this scar, and not the other
Hopefully
thing.
you were pulled out of me.
Yes, and presented.
Oh.
I also don't want to deal with like the cone head. I don't want to deal with any of that shit.
There is a lot to deal with.
You know what's going to be really funny, and I've told you this already, is if the baby is ugly. You know, the newborn babies are typically really ugly. That's not a secret.
Yeah.
And so I was like, it'd be really funny if you think the kid is wicked ugly, but you just can't say anything to me. Because I was like, lie to me.
Literally would never.
Because I was like, postpartum, when my hormones are crazy, if like you were like, yeah, he is kind of ugly, I would be like, get the fuck out.
Yeah. I would expect nothing less than that reaction. Because come on. I made this thing.
I made it.
It'd be like, I made you a cake and you're like, yeah, but it's not decorated well. It's like, bitch.
Yeah, right.
I worked hard on this.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
It is absolutely amazing what women can do. I mean, I haven't been doing you don't think about it. It's just, he's just like baking.
It's so insane.
I didn't have to do anything. And I have a full man in
there's a man in there.
There's a man. And he's got like a fucking hot tub, man. I am like big. I was like looking at myself in
like, I'll take the penthouse.
Yeah, I was like, this guy he's got a lot of room. He's got multiple bedrooms. He's got maybe like a 2-bed, 2-bath.
You're at the stage now where when we hang out and you wince, I'm like,
yeah,
what's happening?
No,
like I'm
literally.
like skittish around you now.
I know.
You're like, imagine my life. I fear every day I'm gonna go into labor.
God. I was on the phone with my mom because we were joking about how Mark's probably gonna miss the birth, and I was like, how do I know if I'm going into labor? She was like,
oh, honey,
not a secret.
Yeah.
She was like, you will know it. Let me tell you something. And then she was like, how do you plan on getting to the hospital? I was like, I guess I'll take an Uber. And she was like, oh my God.
That's New York City for you, babe. You know?
You know what, though? I mean, I live in Brooklyn and my hospital's on the Upper West Side. That is such a bitch, isn't it?
Couldn't you just go to the Clinton Hill one? Why do you have to go Upper West?
Maybe I can switch it.
Maybe.
I have a doctor's appointment on Wednesday. I can ask.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll talk about the logistics of that at dinner.
Yeah. Do you guys want to know where I'm having
I don't
birth?
want people to look up where you're giving birth.
Yeah, but wait for me outside with a... You know what I really want? Nice pajamas to walk out
Yes,
with.
for
nice
sure.
Pajamas. I want nice pajamas, and I want to wear them with my big fur coat and then get a photo of the three of us together.
So cute.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, I kind of already know this, but like, what are you most excited for when it's like baby's out? I like no longer have to not have Botox. I no longer have to not have wine or sushi. Like, what are you like
most excited for? Alcohol.
Yeah. Alcohol.
Yes. I think like moving into the house and all this shit would have been so much less painful if I could just have a glass of wine.
You had been completely stone sober for all of that stress.
Yep.
And that's you know, obviously people are not pregnant and are stone sober, but not you, not us.
Not us.
So to have to, you know, deal with impossible people and stressful situations without even the relief of
like,
you
fuck
know,
it, I'm gonna, or like, you know, like even like unpacking, I want to have a glass of wine when I'm doing
yeah,
it.
It's more romantic.
Yeah,
to do it that way.
It's just easier
Yeah.
for some reason. You gotta have this little reward for yourself where you're like, I'm doing this laborsome like task,
right?
But
no,
at least I can have my cab.
Nope, just a podcast for you.
I know, just a podcast. I was telling Mark too, because I was like, oh, it'd be so nice when like the moments where we put him to bed and I can just pour myself a glass of red wine and we're watching TV, and he was like, man, you have very low expectations for life. And I was like, but this is like to me that's like amazing.
No, that's
right
amazing. Now. Yeah. That's there's so much in that, you know. It's like, oh, I'm secure, we're good, I'm back to myself, I'm having what I want.
But the vaginal birth, I don't know if I mentioned this already. I have seen on TikTok that Mark is supposed to be like stretching my vagina with a bunch of oils and stuff. So that'll be honestly, that'll be kind of hilarious.
Seriously.
I'm also having, because I'm doing a little photo shoot tomorrow, I'm going to have Mark shave my vagina for me because I can't see anything.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have, I mean, is waxing something that you can't do either?
No, you can wax.
Oh, you can.
My sister actually goes, before you give birth, you should probably get a Brazilian wax. I go, what? And she was like, I got a Brazilian wax. It just made me feel better. And I was like, For whose pleasure? The fucking
Yeah.
doctor's viewing pleasure? Because she also wasn't letting her husband see her vagina. And I was
Right.
like, you got a Brazilian wax so that the fucking doctors wouldn't see hair on your vagina? Is that what I'm understanding?
I mean, I guess if there ever is a time, because you're not really going to be thinking about your grooming while there's, you know, a new child around. And is it true that like you can? I mean, I think as a pregnant woman you can withstand pain a little bit better. Maybe you can withstand the pain of a Brazilian.
No.
No. The answer is no.
I mean, I really don't think so. But what do I know? I don't know. Yeah, I don't think so. I hate Brazilian waxes.
No.
I cannot get through a fucking Brazilian wax. You expect me to push a baby out of my vagina?
Yeah, but you don't get epidurals when you get a
It's
Brazilian.
true. Oh my God. This was driving me crazy too. Cause like the older generation, they'd be like, oh, if you get an epidural, you won't feel a thing. I'm like, I am not worried about feeling a thing or not. I am Please, let me spell this out for you.
I need you to know.
Elasticity.
Yeah. Your Kegels, girl.
There's only so much Kegels
Release.
can do. Right?
I mean, I don't know. People say you're supposed to do them.
Oh,
I unintentionally do them. You say the word Kegel. It's like when someone yawns and
Yeah.
you yawn.
Yeah.
That's Kegel.
Yeah, that's true. All right.
All right.
Should we go eat?
Yeah, it's time to go get some dinner. It's late. Where can people find you?
Oh my goodness. So I actually did a comedy special before I got pregnant. It's the craziest timing because I wanted to it was intentional because I wanted to get rid of my material before I got pregnant and had a baby. So anyway, I filmed a special. It's coming out. I don't know where it's coming out yet, but I do know it's coming out January 21st. So look for it. It's Mae Planert, and it's called Who Is She?
Love.
And then, so that is that. And then also you can find me on Instagram at Mae_Planert and on YouTube at Mae Planert.
And your podcast.
And my podcast, obviously, duh. I have a podcast with Laura Sogar, also a guest of the pod before.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
She and I do a podcast called Risque Business News. We talk about business scandals mostly. Mostly it's just like us riffing on like some guy in Florida farted into an alligator and whatever. But it is allegedly about business scandals. Depends on the episode. But we have a lot of fun. Follow us there at Risque Business News. We release once a week, just like this podcast.
Yep. Great. Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah,
Such
thanks
a pleasure.
for having me.
So fun.
Let's do it.
All right, guys. Everything will be in the description of the show. Until next week. Bye.
Bye.